Welcome to Garden Plants with Jim Putnam. Let's talk Fatsia japonica. This is Fatsia japonica, otherwise known as Japanese Aralia, and it goes by lots of other common names as well. Beautiful evergreen shrub that has these incredible palmate-shaped leaves that can get very, very large. These are in 3-gallon containers here, and the leaves are kind of small, on a very young plant, but the leaves can end up, 14, 15, 16 inches across as this plant matures. Typically, I'll see Fatsia japonica 6 feet in height, maybe 4 to 6 feet in width, some a little taller, some a little smaller. Very dense growth habit. They'll definitely start slow. This is not a plant that's going to race off to 6 feet in height, but by year 3 or so, they can actually put on quite a bit of growth. Fatsia japonica is a plant that doesn't need to flower to be impressive with the big, beautiful evergreen leaves, but this one does flower, and it flowers at a unique time of year, typically in autumn, right up through, I'm filming this in mid-December. Typically in the landscape, this is when we would see them in full flower. Warm days, pollinators absolutely go crazy for these flowers. It just, you can hear them buzzing on it. So that, and at a time of year when there's not a lot of other available flowers. Flowers eventually form seeds, which the birds will take. These are hardy in zone 7B to 10. Probably could get away with growing this in zone 7 if you had it in a very protected space up against a house, something like that. Can be used anywhere that you can fit a 6-foot evergreen plant. Those of you in zones 8, 9, and 10 can have it out further from the house. Those of us in zone 7, again, really does need to be in a protected space or it will take some winter damage. This is definitely a shade or part shade plant. Typically, plants with leaves this big, and this is a small version of this leaf, but if you put a leaf this size out in the full sun, it will typically burn. Frequently when we're siting a shrub in a part shade or shade area, it could be wet. Don't plant your Fatsia japonica in a space that's going to stay wet. This is a plant you're going to want to mound up a little bit. It is susceptible to root rot. They're very drought tolerant. Once this plant's established, I don't think you'll have to do a lot of ongoing watering to it. Doesn't mean it's going to thrive without water though. I would definitely check on it. It is a plant that will let you know it's dry. It will wilt. Plants with large leaves like this, that's typically what they'll do. But if it ends up in a dry shade condition, you'll probably will have to do some ongoing watering, or you probably won't get any of the flowers in the fall if it's in stressed conditions. Really not a lot of maintenance to do on this plant. The pruning, what you get is kind of multiple branches on this plant, and it's best to prune the height out of it by taking one of those branches all the way down to the ground. If you have one of these, you'll know what I mean. It'll just be multi-trunked, and you'll have one 7-foot tall stalk, and then the rest will all be 5 or 6 feet. Just take that one all the way down to the ground and remove it, and that's the best way to keep it with a natural look, and not in a really tight round ball. You'll also be sacrificing flowers if you pruned it, just did a general pruning on it. That type of pruning can be done in the late winter, after the flowering's done, after the fruiting is over with. I fertilize these in the late winter with an organic fertilizer just once a year. Keep them well mulched, keep the weeds away from them. There's not much else. I mean, they don't really get very many pest issues. They're considered deer resistant, but I have heard that deer will occasionally sample a Fatsia. It's not a plant they typically will eat to the ground, but a hungry deer will snack on them. And that's it. Fatsia japonica. This is absolutely one of my favorite go-to evergreen shade plants. Beautiful, beautiful texture, beautiful shiny green foliage, great flowers. Thanks for watching.